Welcome back to the Football Terrace. The Premier League is firing on all cylinders at the moment. Back again tomorrow. It's going to be like till Christmas, so just buckle yourselves in for a roller coaster ride. Arsenal, they are in the mud. They did get the draw against Southampton. There were positives, but they go away to Everton this weekend. Another potential banana skin. Could this be the end of Mikel Arteta if Arsenal were to lose bad this weekend? Leeds versus Manchester United is back. It's been nearly 20 years since this has been a Premier League fixture. It's one I cannot wait to sink my teeth into. We're going to be previewing that over the course of the next hour. And I want to speak Tottenham as well. Called title contenders a week ago. 2 games on the bounce, they dropped points. We're hearing about Jose's fossil football. Are they bottle jobs, etc.? We want to get your views and we want to get your opinions on that. But as ever, the most important thing you can do is, of course, get your comments in, but smash the like button for us right about now. Retweet if you're watching this stream via Twitter. Going to introduce you to the panel. Got lots of new people on the show tonight, making debuts and second appearances as well. Obviously, we've got Elite KJ here. Elite KJ's in the house. Resident host, does his thing. We've got man Lucky Gal here from the Arsenal point of view, sitting there. You know, he's looking quite confident, quite happy there, is man Lucky Gal, but he's in the house. We've got Leeds fan from All Leeds TV, Joe, in the house, making his second appearance on the Football Terrace, having his say. And then we've got two newbies tonight. We've got Stats Man Baines on the channel here. I know iTest is going to hate you. It's all stats. I hate stats, but we've got that man in the house having his say, and making her debut on the channel from Lily White TV is Eleanor. So welcome each and every single one of you to the show. How are you all?
Chilling.
Good. I'm good. Thank you. I think a couple of you guys are mute still, so just check that.
Yeah, a few people muted their own mics, which is nice. It's very, very professional to do that. But there we go. It says big weekend of football on the way. Very excited about it. Where to start? I think we have to start with Arsenal because it's the biggest topic.
Alphabetical order.
Bro, I mean, we start with the bottom. We'll start at the bottom of the league is essentially what we're going to do. Relegation. We've never really spoke relegation fight on the Football Terrace. We're meant to be a top 6 channel. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with Arsenal. We'll go to you first on this, Gal. You're in the relegation fight, a big game away at Everton. You know, what's your heart saying and what's your ass saying?
Okay. On a serious note, honestly, you have to fear for the worst and hope for the best at this point because we're on such bad form that it seems like everything's going wrong for us. The players are even speaking out about how the players' attitudes are bad. Like, if you guys have heard what Leno said, Leno's basically saying it's not Arteta's fault. It's the players and their attitude is just piss poor. And he honestly doesn't know what to, we just need a better mood in the locker room. And hopefully that can translate onto the pitch. And right now, honestly, man, I'm just hoping for the best. I'm not really going to be pushing myself out there too much today.
Are you fearful of Everton? Because, you know, they've found some form again. 2 weeks ago, they couldn't buy a win, and they've had 2 back-to-back victories against Leicester and against Chelsea, who are both superior to you. It's like the worst time to be playing them.
Listen, it's the worst time for us to be playing anybody who's on form right now. So not only Everton, I feared Southampton last game. Let's be honest. We are so bad right now that a draw after getting down to 10 men against Southampton actually seems like a decent result. That's not me saying, oh, we've lowered our expectations. That's just me saying, let's look at it, the cold hard light of things. We've picked up 2 points in our last 6 games. Terry, I'm delusional if I go into any game.
Bro, you picked up 2 points in your last 9 games, bruv.
No, that's not true. We won before.
I'd say 8 games. Yeah, you've won 1 in 8. Sorry, but it's something like 5 points in 8 games, bruv.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm
making the stat worse. I'm not letting you get away with that little 6 game thing. This is terrible, bruv. Like, in the last 9 games, you've been the second worst team in the league. Only Sheffield United have been worse than Arsenal. It's a madness. I want to go to Eleanor on this. Obviously, you're a Spurs fan, so this just must be joyous for you to see these Gooners in the mud. First of all, is it enjoyable watching?
I mean, it's the when we lose when we lost against Liverpool, the only thing was that they didn't win, which keeps me going. But it's fun. It's fun to watch us be talked about as title contenders, even if we're going to get onto the whole bottle job thing. It's still very fun to be like up there while they're literally struggling for like to breathe. Like they can't afford to drop any more points because then you're going to seriously talk about relegation battles and stuff. So it's definitely it's definitely a really fun time to walk around with a little smug face wearing your cockerel when you see people with Arsenal shirts.
I love that. I mean, as a Spurs fan watching, okay, you're enjoying seeing them in the mud. I get that. Is this an Arteta problem for you? Is it an Arsenal problem altogether? Or maybe is this a sort of a product of, Arsenal fans kind of just overgassing their team and just kind of ignoring the major problems for the last 16, 17 years?
I mean, for me personally, when they won the FA Cup and then they beat City, they beat Chelsea, obviously in the FA Cup, then they beat Liverpool for the Community Shield, and then the season started and they just annihilated Fulham. Obviously, I know Fulham's pretty much been annihilated by everyone, but it just seemed like they were going to do pretty well, and then we lost to Everton, and it just looked like we were going to be in that position and they were going to be sort of somewhere here. So I wasn't expecting the turnaround like so quickly. But it just seems to like there's I don't know. I feel like it is an Arteta problem. I mean, they do have some poor players, but I do think the way they're playing, like Aubameyang's not a poor player. Like regardless of what we say, like he's not a poor player. Their midfield is pretty shocking. Defense, I would take Gabriel over Dyer personally. So like the defense is not that bad. Obviously Leno has been making a few mistakes, but I do think he's a good keeper. I don't know, I feel like it's a mixture of everything, but I do think it's, if they get a different manager that has a bit of experience, not a novice, then maybe they can actually do something.
I love how you laugh at the end of it. You're enjoying it so much. I want to go to Joe on this. Everton versus Arsenal. As a neutral, how do you see this game going?
And Everton win at the minute. If I'm being totally honest, like I say, I don't know what's going on at Arsenal. I think it's something deeper. I don't know. Is there stuff going on behind the scenes? All these red cards, all of a sudden Xhaka in his programme talking about, we all need to be together, and then he goes and gets himself a red card. The only decent defender gets himself a red card. I don't know what's going on there, but obviously it doesn't seem to me like they're a tight-knit group at the minute. Something's not right. So whether or not that means a change in manager, I'm not sure. But look, Everton in decent form. I know they've been up and down, but I can't see anything past an Everton win. And if that happens, then is it time for Arteta to go? Do you know?
Well, that's the big question. I want to go to Statman. Look at Gal's got that denial curve thing going on there. Statman, I want to ask you this. I mean, if Arsenal lose, whether it's narrowly 1-0, 2-1, or get a beat down, one, do you see him losing? And secondly, can you see this being the end of Arteta?
I think the easiest thing is, obviously, we can see Arsenal losing. They're pathetic right now, but I still can't see Arsenal sacking Arteta. I think Edu came out the other day and kind of backed him. I still think they're looking towards signing players for Arteta in the January transfer window. So, like, after all that talk, I can't see Arteta going right now. Especially, like, the guy won 2 trophies. Like, I know one's the Community Shield and stuff, but I still think, like, there's something there in Arteta, like, in my opinion.
Elite KJ, I hear that. What are you saying? Like Arteta, is there something there? Is there something with this?
You know what? Yeah,
around.
I've been thinking about this Arsenal thing quite a bit, because it's quite amusing. We talk about structure, yeah. I remember Igel, yeah, in the summer. We've fixed the structure. We've got man like Edu. We've got Don Raul, you got what's his name, Vinay, and all them man there. Well, first of all, Don Raul got done for fraud at your club, fam. Like, I'm not gonna let you guys forget that, fam. I was doing fraud, shaving off transfers off the top and that. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't living that down. And 2, yeah, I saw someone say this on a stream earlier today. Hold tight, new tired, I think his name was. Man said, Man United got Ed Woodward. And Arsenal have got Edu Woodward, bruv. Edu Woodward, this is the issue, fam. You see this brother, yeah? I was trying to tell you again about this brother, fam. And you were like, nah, it's fine. I told you when Edu came in, yeah, it ain't going to be all roses, because look at that Brazil team. That Brazil team has been whack for years, fam. Let's be honest, they've been whack. And he's been a part of that process. So Edu coming in it's not changed anything. He's not changed anything at all. Like when people say, change the structure and get this guy and that guy in, it will automatically fix things. No, it still has to be the right person. It's same with United. If we get a DOF, we can't just get any DOF and it will fix things, because you can have a bad DOF. You can have bad technical directors. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem. Edu is whack, fam. He is.
That is so unfair. That is so unfair. A man who just no, Terry. A man who
in England. You're the third biggest team and the third biggest club in England. You're in a relegation fight, and somebody's having a pop at the way you're run. And you have been telling us for 2 weeks, it's not Arteta, it's the board, it's the way we run things. We have a go at the people running it, and you say it's unfair. That is backwards.
It's basically like saying your CEO just got replaced before liquidation. It's his fault. The new CEO's fault. That's not his fault. Let's be honest. It's Edu. It just came in and he literally got given the keys this transfer window. In the middle of the transfer window, they got rid of Raul. So all these other signings that were happening before, they were being lined up with the Cedric Suarez, with the Pablo Maris, with all these other deals that were happening. I don't give credit to Edu. At the end of the day, Edu might have been given credit for some things, but realistically, he should be judged on a clean slate from when he was given the job by himself and been the main man. And that has only happened. This is going to be the first window. He's really the main man. And now this is going to be the second one.
Look what's happening on his watch. Look what's happening on his watch. Him and Arteta are already falling out, bruv. Already. And the day before, like 2 days ago, he comes out saying, I'm backing Arteta. He's the guy going forward, yeah? And then the next day, I'm seeing reports that they don't like each other and it's breaking down, fam.
Listen, don't believe the propaganda. They're trying to throw propaganda and they're trying to ruin something. Everybody knows that Arsenal right now are in a bad situation, and it's easier to sack the manager than it is to actually solve the problem, which is the rotting players in the club and the issues that we've had. In my opinion, if you get rid of those players that have been terrible and you try to replace them over the years and you get rid of the contracts that we have going out this summer and you let Edu bring in the proper players, because let's be honest, since he's come in, we've actually signed Don Dadas.
I'm confused. Sorry, Terry. I'm confused. I thought it was Arteta bringing the players in because he's the manager now. He's got all this transfer power. He's got all these different things coming in. And now I'm hearing, no, let Edu bring in the guys.
It's a three-headed monster.
What?
It's a three-headed
monster.
What am I hearing? It's a three-headed monster. Arteta is the man who's leading the team. Then you got Edu, who's doing the backroom stuff with the player signings, and then you have Per Mertesacker, who's leading the academy. You have three people working in cohesion, and that's the new structure. And it's only been in place realistically this year, in place properly.
But you can't say you have a worse team. You can't say you have a worse team than like the likes of Burnley and the likes of Sheffield, and you can't say you're on par with that team. So there's definitely a problem there because your players are better than these teams that you're on par with.
Okay.
So there's definitely a problem outside of just the players are not good enough. Your players are better than them teams. So there's definitely a problem with the way you're setting up and the way you're playing.
I think it Gal as well. What I'm going to say is this: you throw in words like propaganda, like it's sort of the media. Like, right? How do we get Arsenal today? How do we get Arsenal today? Like you might think that's true. Then you're throwing in kind of mythology and sort of three-headed monsters and King Arthur and swords being in stones and stuff like that. Like just wake up and smell coffee. Smell the coffee, man. You guys are in the mud, and it's from front to back. You've got a poorly run club. Edu, yes, he's only been there for a while, but he hasn't done a great job so far. You know, Edu was the guy who, listen, you can pull that face. Man gave an aging Aubameyang a 3-year deal, made him the highest paid player in the Premier League at 375 grand a week. The man took Will.i.am, okay, over £200,000 a week and put him on a 3-year deal.
That is a Raul signing. That's a Raul signing. Raul was the man. No. Let's be real. Raul was the man who was dipping his hand into that pot of with what's his name, Kia Jarebkin. He got all of Kia Jarebkin's players for us. He got Cedric. He got. I'm not sure if Willian and Willian and David Luiz are all his agents. I don't know where they got Gabriel from. They got him. They just plucked him out of Brazil. But then those 3 signings, in my opinion, were all Edu doing his thing. Not Edu doing his thing. What's his name? Don Raul doing his thing, just messing up and cheating and doing some crazy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
One sec. So all the
I'm
good
talking like
signings are Edu, and all the bad things are somebody else. That's what I'm hearing here, bro. That's what I'm hearing.
Look at the bad players in this team right now. The biggest issue we have is that signings like Xhaka, signings like Mustafi, those signings to this day are still affecting us because we can't move them on.
Ooh.
Wait, why they still? This is what I mean. Yeah, I made a comment. Yeah, I made a comment before about United saying the fact that the manager has the option to play Matic and McTominay in the midfield is criminal. Why is your club and why is it even an option for Arteta to be playing Mustafi? Why is it an option for him to play Ceballos and Xhaka and El Neni? The fact that it's an option is criminal, bruv. And if they can freeze out Ozil, yeah, how comes they can't freeze out these dead ballers, fam?
I think that's almost rhetorical. There's a comment here because we've got to move on to another subject in a minute. This year, what needs to happen for Igal to be Arteta out? What needs to happen, Igal?
I need to see him get in those January signings. And if he still flops with those January signings that he brings in, if we get him the attacking options that he needs in the January window and they still flop, at that point, I can't even back him until summer. But my whole thing was I was always trying to give it time for these players to leave. And I think at least we're going to have to wait until the end of this season to see him get in the players that he wants.
Go on, Joe.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, but listen, it's Arsenal's worst start since 1974. You're going to give him time till the end of the season, yeah? If that happens, by then, you could already be cut adrift. It might be too late. You and Sheffield United down there in the doldrums. And then you're like, oh, we'll give him to the end of the season, but we'll need Sam Allardyce or someone to try and save us, you know?
I think he's trying to address the actual real problem. And he's not, and we're not trying to put a bandage on it by sacking a manager, bringing in another manager who's going to have to address who they want to keep and who they want to get rid of. And then by then we're going to be set back another year, in my opinion. Yes, you can bring in another manager and bring us up higher in the league, maybe even push for a top 6 right now, which we're going to be struggling to do. But with Arteta, at least he's already addressed what he needs to do, and they can try to build a long-term plan.
Okay.
I want to finish with this. When you start talking about January and the players you're going to bring in and doing all this business, yeah, I don't see how you, man, can have faith in the same guys that you don't like, bro. That's what I don't get. They failed to get Sabazla. He's already gone. He's already off the table. They failed to get Aouar. Aouar was ready to come. He wanted to come Arsenal, and he still didn't get him. You know, all these players available, and you haven't secured them over the years. I don't see how you can sit there and say, when we get January signings, I will assess, because I don't even know if you guys are going to do that. I don't know why you trust these men.
And then we've got to move on to another subject. But even on top of that, you're then not also giving Arteta time to settle them in. It's like if he doesn't turn it around then, once he gets them, I might be him out. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how that transpires. Everton Arsenal will be live after the Everton Arsenal game with a post-game review tomorrow. I've got a man like Mr. Green in here in the studio with me. So it's going to be a good bit of fun. Let's talk Tottenham. Make sure everyone tuning in, by the way, just over 1,000 of you watching, smash that like button. Please share this on your social media platforms as well. Get your super chat questions into the panel as well. Tottenham, big game against Leicester. 2 games on the bounce without victory for Tottenham now. They're in this title race. Well, we're being told they're in a title race. And I mean that with respect. The media is saying they're in a title race. The media are now saying, but maybe the sort of the bottle job element is creeping in again. We're going to go to Eleanor first on this, of course, as a Spurs fan. One, this weekend, how nervous are you after 2 games without victory? And do you think you're in a title race?
Well, it's hard. It's hard to say we're not. We're still up there. So it's going to be like people are going to say, well, you're clearly involved because you're up there. But I was never thinking, okay, we're going to win the league, because we needed to get through this month. This month is like our hardest month of the season, because we literally had to play Chelsea. We had to play City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester, Liverpool, Wolves. Like it's a very hard month like that we had. So Palace was our chance to capitalize on some points that we were inevitably going to drop against Liverpool. Now the Palace game is my main worry, because we played terrible in that Palace game, like really, really bad. Like it wasn't even counter-attacking, it was just like doing nothing. And we had up until we scored, we had like all the possession. We could actually go for them. So that's when I blame like tactics in that Palace game. With Liverpool, I felt like we got unlucky. But anyway, that's a different story. I think realistically, we're in the mix, but we're not likely to win it. And I can understand why people say, oh, you know, you're a bottled job team because we've bottled every other time. So I don't know. I do think there's still that element of bottling in us because I've never seen Kane miss a corner the way he did against Liverpool. Bergwijn could have taken us 3-1 up if he scored both chances. We are still bottling leads and we're bottling results. And, you know, we bottled against West Ham, Newcastle, obviously Liverpool and the Palace game. Title winners don't drop those points. So, yeah, it doesn't seem likely, but I could just be being reactionary because I'm very, very upset with them.
No, listen, I hear what you're saying, actually. I think that it's too early to say Tottenham, in my opinion, have bottled this kind of title race thing. What's interesting is just as they start being spoken about being in a title race, it falls apart a little bit. I remember in the back end of Poch's career, you went away to Burnley in the league, and as it stood that season, you were in the title race at that point.
Yeah.
And you had a couple of games in hand over City and Liverpool. And on the day of that match, I remember Poch being interviewed, and we said to him, "Are you aware that you are in control of your own destiny?" And from that point, it meant basically if you won all your remaining games, now you didn't need to win all of them because the likelihood is that City and Liverpool could drop points. But basically, if you'd have won your remaining games, you would have won the league because you were only sort of 4 or 5 points off the top with 2 games in hand, essentially. And you lost that match against Burnley. And then I think you lost the next 2 games on the bounce.
Yeah.
Every time I see Spurs spoken about as title contenders or in the mix, there always seems to be like the April goes a little bit and it
telling
falls
you,
apart.
we're cursed. The only explanation is, I say this all the time, that badge is cursed. Because we've had better teams than most of it in the league, and we mess it up every time. So, like, when we played the best football in the league in the Leicester year, and then obviously when Chelsea won the league, we bottle it. We ended up 3rd to these lot. Like, I actually can't in that Leicester year. Like, we're definitely cursed. Now, I understand that, like, the way we got Mourinho now, that's why most people are believing more because we got Jose Mourinho, but I don't know. There's still that element of it is the history of Tottenham, and I don't really want to say it, but it's true.
I get that.
She said they got judged, you know. They said they got judged.
100%. Statman, from your point of view, you look at Tottenham, tough game against Leicester. Leicester as well on the back of a defeat. Where do you see this game going yourself?
My biggest problem with Tottenham, or like my criticism with Tottenham, is when they play teams that play a low block, because they don't really have that creative midfielder. I don't think Ndembele is that creative midfielder, or Lascelles is that creative midfielder. Leicester are going to leave spaces in behind, and we know how deadly Spurs are on the counter. And I think the title race thing about Spurs being a bottle job and stuff, I don't think that can apply this season. Yes, these players haven't really won much, but Jose Mourinho is a winner. And I think even when you watch the documentary, Spurs' documentary last season, one of the biggest things that Jose says, he wants to instill that winning mentality in them. And I think under Poch, people said that Spurs were a nice team. Mourinho's added that little grit in it. You see the signing of Højbjerg and stuff. He's done that. He's kind of got his... Højbjerg's kind of like Mourinho on the pitch. He's got winners on the pitch now, in a way. Which is why I don't think Spurs can be regarded as bottle jobs this season either.
I just want to add to that whole, you were not nice under Poch. Does everyone remember the battle at the bridge? Because people keep talking, you were such nice guys under Poch. You forget about all of our aggressive performances we did have under Poch, and we still bottled it. So you can change that. But hopefully, I mean, I love Højbjerg. He's literally my saving grace a lot of the time during those games. The reason we have the best defense in the league is because he is making their job a lot easier by tidying up in front of them. But I don't know. We weren't exactly nice guys on the Burnley game, which you were talking about. Poch had the whole argument with the referee, and because of the corner going out, and then that's why we ended up losing that game. But generally, we used to. Ali wasn't a nice guy. He used to beat our players on the pitch. Lamela, we've always had. It just seems like we've got this stigma of, you were nice guys under Poch. But when you realistically look back, we actually lost games from being too rash.
I hear you on that. We're going to go to Gal here. Obviously, Gal being being a gooner. What's your thoughts ahead of Tottenham this weekend? Do you see them crumbling away from this title race that the media put them in? And if so, why?
I honestly see them going back into the top 4 race more than I see them winning the title. Like, if you were to put money at the end of the day where they're going to finish, you probably guess that they would finish maybe 3rd or 2nd at this point, rather than finishing above Liverpool, or even I would put Chelsea back in there. You never know. Man City could come and catch them, even though I put Man City in the top 4 race also. So honestly, Spurs, until they show me that they can go on a big run of games and late in April, late in April, end of the season, doing something dangerous, then I'll start to get worried. But right now, until I see it, they will continue to be imposters for me, Terry. Continue to be imposters.
Imposters. That's it.
Wait, can I just say, this is just bitterness. Let me just this is just bitterness. You cannot say the team in 2nd is not in the title race, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. You're 2nd.
How many points separates you from the team that's in 8th?
No, I totally get that. It's very tight. But if Chelsea are in the title race, then we definitely are in the title race. Let me just throw that out there.
The difference between Chelsea and Spurs is if Spurs need a player, will they get that player? Will they get it over the line in the January window to go help them?
That's fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is they also have Frank Lampard, who has no experience in winning the title, whereas we have Jose Mourinho, so we kind of weigh that out.
Yeah, but they also spent 200 million.
And Havertz has been terrible.
How can you?
Anyway, I'm not backing Chelsea over Spurs right now. I'm just saying Tottenham are in the title race, and all those other teams are in the title race.
Yeah, Igal, how can you ask that question of, will Spurs strengthen, yet say Arsenal will strengthen in the...
Because we've already mentioned it. We're already starting to look for it. I'm not hearing nothing about Spurs strength.
Wow, bro. When it comes to Arsenal propaganda, like you talk about, I hate the propaganda. You love to snort up your nose Arsenal's actual propaganda. What comes in directly from Arsenal, you legitimately, you're like, oh, the board have told us we're looking at players. That means it's true. Like I love you. I legitimately love you, Joe. I want to go to you on this. Tottenham, tough game for them this weekend against Leicester. It's one of those games I think that can go either way. Where do you see sort of that game? How do you see that game going? And when you look at Tottenham, do you see a team that people should look at as title contenders, or are they some way off that yet in your view?
No, why not? I mean, they've got Mourinho, right? Like, this is the thing for me. I think if anyone is going to win anything at Spurs, it's going to be Mourinho. Whether or not that's the Europa League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, I don't think they'll get the Premier League. But they're going to be there or thereabouts. As a Leeds United fan, I look at Spurs and it's the one team, other than who we've got this weekend, that are the perfect foil. So it's a team that I look at and I'm actually pretty worried about playing, man. They're so lethal on the counter. And I think this weekend, Leicester far too inconsistent. Like the stat man said, I think Tottenham will win this game well at the weekend. And why? Look, they've got Mourinho, and Mourinho wins things, man. And I think at the end of the season, they will have a trophy in that cabinet. I genuinely believe that.
Listen, when you've got a winner like Jose that's happy, I agree. I was somebody that said that Jose was finished, and when I said he was finished, I always have to bring this up. No, seriously. I did too. No, a lot of people did, but my thing wasn't about his tactics. I thought it was nonsense that there's so many people out there in the football world saying pragmatic football was dead and it was finished and nobody else was ever going to win with it again. This phrase that I hear all the time from football hipsters is football's moved on. The only thing in football that continually changes is rules and money. Like like styles of football, like nothing that's out now is relatively new. You might get a little nuance, like an overlapping centre back thing, but look how long that's look how great that's doing Sheffield United this year. Last year it was like the future of football. Now they haven't won a game. They haven't won a game in nearly they've only won 1 or 2 games in a calendar year, which is mad. But when it comes to Jose, he's happy, and I think a happy Jose is a very, very dangerous Jose Mourinho. And listen, we did it before in this country when Leicester were top. And every week, every pundit said, yeah, they're going to fall away soon. They're going to fall away soon. They're going to fall away soon. And they didn't. The only thing I would say about Tottenham is this game this weekend is imperative because
it's crucial.
At those 2 back-to-back games, they've dropped points. They can't allow that to be a 3rd or 4th or 5th game. They have to nip it in the bud, stop it. and say, look, we're here to stay. We might have a couple of bad games, but we're going to be straight back at it, because that is what Liverpool are going to do. And Chelsea the same. Chelsea are going to bounce back this weekend with a victory against West Ham, and they'll then go on another run of 2, 3, 4 games of winning and kind of put this slump behind them. Tottenham need to do the same, in my opinion.
We have to win. We have to win, because the Palace game, I'll say, okay, we played badly. We didn't deserve 3 points in that game. Liverpool, I didn't think we played badly. We played our game. They ended up hitting us on a corner, which we should have defended. Like, we had how many players in the box, and they managed to score it. But I feel like if we play the way we do against Liverpool, but with being more clinical, we'll be all right. But if we played the same way we did against Palace, then I would be like, oh, we've got a problem. Against Liverpool, I would be like, okay, well, that little purple patch is over. But Liverpool, we looked like we picked up our normal game plan, and it was working in the second half. The first half was dreadful, but in the second half. So we need to win. We cannot drop another 3 points. We need to win if we're going to be involved, because United are having this terrible season, and you could be above us with if you win your game in hand. So
final word there with Igal on Tottenham.
I don't feel like they have been playing good football, and I don't feel like they've been dominating their teams. They've been getting goals and scoring a lot of goals, so I'm impressed with that. But until I see like consistent like pressure against teams and they're dominating teams week in, week out, I'm not gonna be picking them.
This guy's manager is Arteta.
No, but let's be honest. Has your team been playing good? Has your team been playing good the past 2 weeks?
Tottenham are massively performing above the expected points and stuff. They have been very, very clinical and stuff.
Oh, stat man, you're not one of them. We've already got one in David.
I'm sorry that our goal scorers score every chance they have. Like,
no, but I'm just saying they're massively clinical.
That's the way it works.
They don't. No, but I agree with Igal, whatever his name. Sorry, whatever your name is. Like, they don't really full 90 minutes dominate teams.
Don't matter.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. They're not built that way to do that, right?
You know why?
He doesn't set them up to dominate teams.
We're not good enough to dominate for 90 minutes. That's why.
I don't think that's his ethos, really.
Exactly. So that's the reason why I think they'll beat Leicester, because Leicester will come out and attack Spurs and stuff. That's how when Spurs play low block teams, I think then it'll be quite interesting what Spurs do.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Make sure you're smashing the like button, hitting the share button, get in your super chat comments as well. We had a few. One here says Igal Roy Hodgson, who is better than Arteta, got sacked from Liverpool because the job was too big for him. Hardeep says, why would any good player want to come to Arsenal? I'll tell you why. Money. Money paves the way, and they've set the precedent now with how much they're paying for Will.i.am and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. There we go. All right, let's talk Man United Leeds. It's the first time this game has happened in the Premier League for 15, 16 years. Man United don't just have the best current away form in the league. No team in the history of the Premier League has had away form as good as this. 10 wins on the bounce. I think this game is poised to go either way, based on the fact that Man United always concede the first goal, so Leeds are taking the lead. It's almost a fact. But Leeds also play the type of football which Man United relish. They're going to go forward. They're going to leave space in behind for the counter-attack. Martial got his goal. Greenwood's there. Rashi's in the form of his life. I want to go to Joe first on this as a Leeds fan. Are you nervous, excited, and how do you see the game going?
Listen, I'm just as a Leeds United fan. This is the fixture. I'm so glad it's back. So excited. As for the game, I think it's going to be high scoring. It's like I genuinely think we could have a you score 4, I'll score 5, you score 3, we'll score 4 kind of vibe to it. Just because I think Ollie struggles to break teams down when he has to, take the impetus, and I think that's why the home form's pretty poor. But he's not going to have to do that with Leeds United, as you said yourself, Terry. We're going to go from the off, and obviously that means on the counter, Man United are going to be lethal. The likes of Rashford, Greenwood, Martial that you've just mentioned. I think it's defensively for both teams where they let themselves down. So I think there is going to be goals. I think KP is going to have a great game up against Bruno. I think at times Man United are a one-man team. I know it's quite laughable as a Leeds United fan to say that, to be fair, but it's true. And I think, look, if anyone on that pitch on Sunday He's going to get this tie. It's going to be Calvin Phillips. He's a Leeds lad, born and bred. He'll know what it means to the Leeds United fans. Whether or not the Manchester United players will be quite up for it, like we've got some Leeds United fans. You know, Liam Cooper, captain. I know he's not levels, but he's Leeds United fan, so he gets this fixture. So I think Calvin's going to be key, and I'm hoping that he can keep Bruno quiet on his way to a man of the match performance, and Leeds can come away from Old Trafford with 3 points. Man, it'd be epic.
I hear you on that. I'm going to go to Statman on this one. Obviously, a United fan, donning the shirt there. How do you see this game playing out, and where are the weaknesses in both sides that each other could exploit?
I'll be honest, I'm quite nervous for this game. Our home form is terrible. We've only won one game. We conceded 10. We scored 3. But one of the things that Leeds will do is leave space in behind. And I'm not trying to be arrogant and stuff as a United fan, but there's not many teams better in the world on the counter than Man United. Mason, Martial, Rashford. Rashford got the 2 goals. Martial's confident now. He got that goal. Greenwood's been solid this season as well. So we will get chances. And even if it's like a you score, we'll score, I think our forward line is better than your forward line. Like Bamford missed 33 big chances last year. He's not clinical. You guys are not clinical at all, which is why I think
Patrick Bamford's got the most goals from open play this season than any other player in the Premier League, though. Just put that stat out there.
That doesn't mean he's clinical, though, is it?
Yeah, but he's level on shots, you know, with the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Salah. So, yeah, fair enough, he might not be clinical, but he's got the most goals from open play than any Premier League player this season. So I think a little bit of respect for him on his name. Yeah, last season, different. Mate, 2 seasons ago, I didn't want him at this football club, but his trajectory is just crazy. He keeps getting better under Bielsa. But I'm not deluded. Like, I get it. Like I said about the Tottenham side, I look at the Tottenham side, I look at the Man United side, and these are perfectly built for Leeds United. You know, we've seen it with the likes of Vardy, etc., when Leicester put 4 passes on that counter. And look, as a Leeds United fan, I just don't want to lose this game heavily, because if we aren't clinical, which at times we can, you know, we aren't clinical, Rashford in decent form, Martial scoring the other night, I've said it on my streams, Man United are clinical, I think, on the counter. And yeah, we've got to take our chances when they come, because it could, you know, I don't want to say it, I don't want to mouth it, but you know what I mean. I'm aware of the Man United threat.
I hear you. So how do you see the game going, Statman?
This is where it's an interesting one, because the Leeds press high, and I think other than Donny, we don't really have a press-resistant midfield. I think McTominay and Fred will play, and we know Fred, when he gets pressured, isn't great. McTominay's not great. Even Bruno, when he gets pressured, he's not great. So I think we're going to struggle getting control of the midfield. So I think if Oli does sit back and counter, then that's probably our best bet to win the game. But I do think we'll probably win the game 3-2 or something. Well,
I hear that. KJ, what's your head and heart saying, mate, ahead of this match? Big game.
I'm looking forward to this game. You know why? Yeah. First of all, shout out to Deluded Devil and Tanya in the chat. I see you guys repping the thing, repping Vibes FC. I said at Midnight Vibes, yeah, that if we was to make a Vibes football team for the Premier League, the manager will be Bielsa, fam. Bielsa got hella vibes. He man's got that Top Knot FC, yeah. That's what I call them, Top Knot FC. Sorry, Joe, but all you man have the same hairstyle, man. It's a bit mad. Not like yours though. Yours is a bit.
I was going to say, man.
Yours is a bit better than theirs. But yeah, it's gonna be a mad game. It's gonna be Top Knot FC versus Vibes FC. 2 teams that just love playing quick attacking football. United's on the counter is lethal. Leeds with the ball at their feet can just open anybody up. So I'm looking forward to this. You man, I got the Yorkshire peeler when I absolutely love Calvin Phillips. If we ever nicked him off you, man, I would love it, man. But Calvin Phillips, great player. I'm hoping Scott McTominay does a number on him, fam. You know what I'm saying? Give him no time on the ball, cover for Bruno, and that we just go for it. We just absolutely go for it. I feel like if we have Martial, Rashford, Greenwood running at your defense, it's curtains, because you guys play such a high line, and you ain't got the quickest centre-back or full-back pairings. You've got a very substandard pace at the back, and I think our forward line could eat it alive.
Yeah, I think one stat that's so important. I actually, for whatever reason, I thought we were away. We're actually at home. That has now changed my mindset even more, because when you look at the away form this season, Man United at the top of the Premier League, one of the best away forms in Europe. It's 6 wins from 6, flying high, 18 points. Our home form, if you just go on home games alone, we are 17th. 5 points from 6 games at home has been absolutely atrocious. And I'm not like certain deluded Arsenal fans that want to play that down. That is just not good enough from front to back. Hey, gal. It's just awful. And we can't get away from that. And for me, it's a mentality issue. It's a mental blocker because it clearly isn't ability. Because if you're winning away from home with ease, but you're not doing it at home when there's no crowd. So there really shouldn't be a difference. It's for me, there isn't a home stadium. You know, you should understand and know the dimensions of a pitch more. United should be doing a lot better there. But what a great game to turn it around. Leeds United. You mentioned there about Calvin Phillips getting this. Rashford will get this. Greenwood will get this. Yeah. I actually think Maguire will understand this.
Yeah, being a Sheffield boy, yeah.
Yeah, I think you understand. The Battle of the Roses, and for anyone that's watched doesn't understand that, just Google like the Battle of the Roses. This is a long-standing rivalry. When I lived in Manchester, I always knew it was a football clash. But when I lived in Manchester, this was the one, like legitimately, right? This was the one where I've never seen so much like pent-up aggression before a game. I remember being in this bar with some lads I used to like. I was up there fighting for Team GB. And we went to this bar, met a few guys, and there was just the angst before the game was crazy. And the last time I remember playing you in a big game, you actually knocked us out of the FA Cup. I was there at Old Trafford, and it was I want to say Beckford.
Yeah, Jermaine Beckford. We still sing about that. Terry, we still sing about that now, man. That was the first time Fergie was beaten in the 3rd round and by lower opposition. So Leeds United fans dined out on that, but that's gone now. We need to start making new memories now we're back in the Premier League.
You know, a painful point that day. Do you know who we brought on to try and change the game for us? Obertan. Gabriel Obertan, the guy. I mean, I saw the way that Statman Baines' body moved when I said his name. That just brought back like bad memories to me, childhood. I could see that straight away. The game is so poised. It's literally
a shootout, absolute shootout. I want to love it. Like,
see, I don't know if it's gonna be a shootout because Ollie's like a coward. I'm not trying to be rude to Ollie, but he's a coward. He sits back against like teams that are going to cause us problems, and I can see like the double pivot of Fred and McTominay happening against Leeds.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
Fred's been your best player all season. I've watched a lot of Manchester United. When it comes to the midfield, he's been really good.
Fred's good, but like
in that
Fred
position.
and McTominay together is not a brilliant pairing, is it?
So, but you know what I would say? But the thing is, under Ollie, again, I thought you'd see this is we win. The vast majority of our games have been won with Fred and McTominay as the double pivot, and the win percentage of us as a team with them two as the main 2 midfielders is at somewhere is just over 70%. Whereas when we play without them, our win percentage is below 40%. They are our best combo. Like factually, we win more games. Now, I get your point. We want a Man United team that's willing to go at sides a bit more. You can call it cowardice. I understand that, but my view is if we play that way and we sit back and counter and we win, then it's just smart, bruv. Because for me, the result is more important than having more of the ball. Does that make sense? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're playing like that and not getting the result. That's the problem.
Like Arsenal.
Like for example, we sat
wait.
we got a point. Like it's just not good.
Didn't we beat you guys at
But
Old
like
Trafford?
if you play like that and get the results, it's all worth it. But I absolutely love Leeds. I love their manager.
Oh yeah, Bielsa. Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Yo, Joe.
The Poch connection makes me love him anyway.
Listen, I had to do a thing for Football Focus ahead of this derby, and one of the actual questions was Ollie or Bielsa, and I was like, "Come on, man, that's not even a question." Man.
Yeah, I love
it. Joe, I've got a question for you about Bielsa, fam. The man's like 60 odd. What the hell is in his knees, fam? Because my man just squats all game, bro. Like he's just there with his knees. I think my man can't get back up. And your coaching staff are letting him sit there with his knees rotting.
No, they need to help him. That guy, right? He lives above a sweet shop in Wetherby, right? And he walks to and from training every single day. Drinks in Costa. He's just a man of the people, man. He walks. It's mad.
You know what?
I love him.
With Bielsa. Bielsa's an interesting character for me. So I don't like people overstating people. So I've heard people say things like he's a great manager. And I'm like, I get touchy about that because the term great manager is reserved, in my view, for people that have won major league titles back to back, Champions Leagues, etc. And I agree that the style of football is beautiful. There's no doubt about it. They also, people talk about him like I've heard people say things like, oh, he's one of the up and coming managers. I'm like, bruv, he's got a bus part, like he's bus pass age. You know what I mean, it annoys me. But what Bielsa does have, and I understand why people adhere to him, is just what you've said there. Lives above a sweet shop, drinks in the Costa, probably stops in the street to speak to people. Certain men and women, but in this instance, certain men like him have a charisma that regardless of his results, plus the beautiful football, it makes you forgive the bad moments. It makes you forgive where you are in the league. It would make you forgive losing a final. When you're a bit more boring, and I'm going to use Ollie as an example. I love Ollie, but the man can put you asleep, bruv. Do you get what I mean? Like, legitimately, he's boring to listen to because the football isn't consistently amazing. Ollie could win 20% more matches, 30% more matches than Bielsa, but nobody aesthetically will ever say Ollie's better. Does that make sense? Because Bielsa's got that charisma. It's like with Jurgen Klopp. We know he's a great manager, but he's also got something about him where you're like, he's a good bloke as well, isn't he? Do you get what I mean? Now, Pep's the other end of the spectrum. Pep Guardiola is a boring man with zero character, in my opinion, but he was also one of the greatest managers ever. Some people just have that mixture of being a brilliant manager, plus they've got this personality, which is like, I'd want to go out for a meal with Bielsa. Does that make sense? I bet it would be a wicked night out. Do you get what I'm saying? Where Ollie, listen, bruv, no, I'm good. Like,
It's true. That is true, bro. It's true.
Sometimes we get caught up in the character of people more than their actual outputs. And I suppose that's where my issue with Bielsa is. People overstate his managerial ability and coaching ability based on how much they like the person. I think sometimes you've got to learn to separate those two things. Does that make sense? Like Michael Richards technically isn't one of the best pundits on TV when he speaks football, but he was my favorite one because he brings vibes, he brings the energy, he knows he's football, but it's sort of like he brings a different kind of energy to it. So it's like I like him more, but not because, you know, I love listening to Gary Neville break down football and as an example and stuff like that. But there we go. We've got some super chats to do here before we do predictions for that game. Jesus, that is a big super chat from Red United. Man like that, it goes, sorry, Terry, been busy working lately. Happy belated birthday. Hey, if you can get Lee, DT, and Igal to be on one show and debate after Everton game, I'll donate £300.
Bro, I think you might need a bit more than that, bro.
I will do my best to try and accommodate something like that. But thank you very much for that super chat, my friend. It means a great deal to me. Guna for Life says Igal is so deluded.
What did I say now? Like,
I know listen, you can sit there. You can actually sit there, yeah, and breathe. And someone would be like, that breath he took, just so deluded, man. Just absolutely.
Can I say something about Ollie?
The vibes Arsenal giving off right now. It's unfortunate for you, but it's your club, isn't it?
Yeah. You're a shout out to the guy trying to hold down the fort and that. Like,
listen, I don't go hiding. Win, lose, draw. I'm here.
Jump shit.
There's a comment here from Baz that says, Terry, can we keep doing what Ollie did with Bruno and Pogba in front of
the screener? Oh, so like a single pivot DM, basically.
Okay. What would that make us like Arsenal under Verg? Do you mean peak Arsenal under Verg? I don't know. I don't really get the question.
I was about to say, can we? Actually, you start, man. You go.
I think he's just trying to say, can Pogba and Bruno play together with like one holding midfielder? For me, the answer is no. In the Man United match, the answer is no. I think if we do want to play that one DM, we need a mobile, like elite ball-winning midfielder. For me, like I've always said, Ndidi. Ndidi's been one of the best ball-winning midfielders in the world for the last 3 years. If we have Ndidi's mobility helping the back line, allowing Pogba to go forward, Bruno to go forward, I think then it will work. Pogba and Bruno as 2 8s is what I want to see, and I keep asking for it.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. I literally couldn't agree with you more. Ndidi would be my number one pick, and then you could have those guys either side of him, and he'd be able to manage that area. It'd be great. We're going to do score predictions for the Leeds game, then go into the last 10 minutes of the stream. We'll go to Joe first. What's the score going to be, mate?
3-1 Leeds United.
Eleanor.
I'm going to go hopeful and say 4-2 Leeds because I like to say they're going to go gung-ho.
See you later. I don't want to know. I ain't messing. We'll go to Igal on this, bro.
I'm going to go for a high-scoring draw. I think it's going to go 2-2.
2-2. High-scoring draw. 2-2 he's going for. Elite KJ.
And we're in a complete vibes. Yeah, screw it, bruv. 5-3 United, fam.
I like that. You know what? I don't want that though. I wouldn't want that victory because you get all these people saying, "Oh, is Maguire can see 3 goals?" Crybaby.
No, I would love, yeah. 3-2 down, bang, Rashford hat trick, but done. I'll be happy, bro.
Statman Baines, prediction, please, bro.
See, I'm not going that crazy. I'm just saying 3-2 United win. The title race is on.
That's worse.
I like that. Man, come on a football terrace, big yourself up, and he said it. I'm gonna go with Man United win. I'm gonna say 3-1 to Man United. I respect Leeds. I'm fearful of them. If we're clinical, we can beat them to that level. Red United here with another super chat says, "I'll make it £400." NKJ. Igal is just a good fan, and everyone needs to learn from him. Even though sometimes he needs to come back to reality. Love Igal. By the way, Igal, you get called. If somebody's paying to call you deluded, it means they actually like you. Trust me, bruv. Like it isn't an overtly negative thing. I'll chat to those guys about doing a show together. We'll work something out. Red, but Red, you need to DM me though, bruv. And I'm not saying this so that you do it. I don't want to arrange a show, but then you miss it, bruv. Not because I want the £400 donation, but because you won't see it. So send me a direct message on Twitter at TFT Media 1 or email me through the Football Terrace and we'll work that out and sort the date out. Another super chat here. There's the thing with Aubameyang is he needs positive people around him for him to be brilliant. He is not a world-class striker because like Kane, Aguero, carry. Hang on. If Aguero and Kane didn't have the supply that they've had in the last 5 years at their respective clubs, they wouldn't have scored as many goals. This notion that strikers do it all by themselves. Just go and watch. Like, Messi may be a bit of an exception, right? But just sit there and watch a goal. Look at all the other top strikers in the world right now and just watch a compilation of the last 100 goals. Look how many of them were delivered in by other people with tap-ins and with like through balls from others. It's ridiculous. Like this.
Other than Eriksen, who have we had that's on De Bruyne level to Aguero? Other than Eriksen, we haven't had great delivery.
Well, to be fair, Dele Alli for time was balling out as well.
Dele Alli and Harry Kane.
A lot. He wasn't assisting
they
as much.
Combined well. You had Son and Harry Kane combined well. I think you have really.
Why are you downplaying yourself, girl? You're just giving it all the chest earlier. And now you're like, oh no.
Without the delivery is what I'm trying to say.
No,
I'm trying to say that
Harry Kane,
the delivery of De Bruyne to Aguero, for example.
No, and I give you that, but nobody really does because the level he's at. But I hear your point on there.
Also, without Aubameyang's goals last season, that man would have been relegated.
I would have been relegated. Get your comments.
No, how annoying!
I think
it was on the form he is now.
I would say Aubameyang's a world-class finisher, but I think overall his play is quite limited. Like that's where I see the when people compare it to Harry Kane, I think Harry Kane is like levels ahead. The way Harry Kane holds the ball up,
it just bothers me when people even try put them two in a sentence. Like
the way Harry Kane.
I don't even need to.
No, but goal scoring wise, if you just go look at the goals, yes, they're in the same bracket, but play wise, yes, Harry Kane is a better player overall. Aubameyang is just he's just a good finisher, and he gets it. He does need a lot more help to get into better opportunities than Kane. He can take it by himself and just make something out of nothing.
There we go. Everyone, smash that like button, hit the share button, retweet if you're watching on Twitter, subscribe to the Football Terrace. Get your questions in now. We're going to go through some questions with the panelists for the last. I've got literally 6 minutes to go through this. Prime was begging me to come on and have me say, Prime, what do you want to say, bro? You're on mute.
I'm actually genuinely curious. Igal, you said give Arteta till January till he gets his signings, and a lot of Arsenal fans say that. So from then on, when he gets the signings, how long does he get?
Okay, you want me to respond? If he gets in, say, 2 attacking midfielders, or at least 1 attacking midfielder and another midfielder that can do a job, in my opinion, at that point, there's no more excuses. We can't make excuses for him at that point because he's gotten in signings to help him turn the season around. And if he can't get us higher up the league and somewhat salvage something from the season, it's gonna be harsh. But of course, at that point, I'm gonna have to start reevaluating things.
Yeah, sorry, there's super chat. So there's a comment here from Neat Sport that says Prime is simp lurking.
Listen. You guys don't know how long he was in the back for. You know what I'm saying?
We had another super chat here from Red again. Another $100 donation says this is for all the people out there struggling with mental health and depression. Also, all you guys that stream and entertain us all. I appreciate you again. You guys don't know how much it means to a lot of people, and it changes lives. I never really know how to respond to comments like that, other than just saying thank you to you. And if we do help people, my pleasure, our pleasure. That's really it. But listen, the donations are amazing. Absolutely, thank you so much. Anything else you want to ask, Prime?
I don't think he really answered the question. How long? How long does he get? I get it, he gets a creative midfielder and a centre mid and whatever. How long does he get once he gets those signings?
I'll give him 10 games into next season. My personal opinion. That's where I'm judging him. I'm judging him next year. 10 games next season after we've seen the January window and the summer window. That's where I'm really judging him. But if he cannot turn around the season and we're still in the relegation area by the come 5 games after February, then what can you do at that point? You really have to reevaluate life.
So Gal, you're banking on your team getting the signings that Arteta needs, and then giving him half a year and 10 games next season for him to judge him. What if you don't get those signings? How long are you going to give him then?
Listen, expectations and everything needs to be reevaluated throughout the season. And right now, I'm giving him until next season, about 5-10 games in, to see if he can get everything he needs to get through the door. If I still see guys like Mustafi resign or David Luiz resigns, and we haven't really made any changes, and instead of going after a guy like Bendia, we end up going for, I don't know what to say, like we end up going for Carrasco or something like that. I don't know. I would be very frustrated.
I mean, Carrasco is a baller. He's a baller.
He's better than Pepe, fam. So,
But what
so
about-
basically, Gal. So your answer is.
What
So
if he
your
doesn't
answer
want
is
those signings?
So say that, Elena.
What if he's saying if he gets a midfielder, what if Arteta's like, oh, I don't need that sort of signing, and he gets something else? Then you've got
They've already said that.
Then you've got a serious problem, because then you can't even see what your problems are.
They've already put it out in public. Edu has already put it out in public that we need to address our issues in the central attacking midfield area in the January window, and they're already looking to sign those players. There's been rumors of us going after Isco, Emmanuel Bendia.
Yeah,
obviously Szoboszlai has signed for Leipzig, but the club apparently had concerns about him not playing right away for Arsenal, because he would take time to adjust to the Premier League, in addition to us possibly going for Arwa again. But I can't believe anything until I see it. As of right now, I'm just hopeful that they can get something through the door, because they've been saying it.
Wait, you said you can't believe anything because you haven't seen it, but then you're saying, I'm going to believe it because they've said it. I'm so confused.
No, I'm
So basically, the
because
answer
they've
to
said it.
my
I'm hoping for
I told
the
you
best.
before, Igal, you're being Alfie Moon, bruv. Cat Slater keeps telling you, I'm not gonna cheat, I'm not gonna cheat, I'm not gonna cheat. And within a month, she's on them knees, pleasuring Phil Mitchell or somebody else, bruv. Like, stop believing it, bruv. I have got to end the stream. I have something happening in the next minute and a half. I have got to go. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every one of you. Make sure you go check out people's platforms. Joe, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, at Wayman Joe on Twitter, or All Leeds TV, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff.
Statman Baines?
Statman Baines on Insta and Twitter for like comparison stuff.
Amazing. If you like stats, I love a stat. Go check this guy out. One of the very best in the business. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Eleanor, where can everybody find you?
LilyWhite_TV on Twitter and Instagram, and also Lily White TV on YouTube. I do like match reactions and stuff.
There you go. And yeah, absolutely brilliant. Want to get both of you back, all three of you back on the Football Terrace again. It was nice having some new faces, new voices coming on and having their say. Prime, Igal, KJ, everyone knows where to find you, man. You're on it all the time. Anyway, everyone who tuned in, actually, we have some super chats before we go. First one from Daniel. So I think Arteta will be sacked in 2 games' time, in my opinion. Also enjoyed the show. Thank you, Daniel boy. And Hardeep here says Arsenal currently has the 2nd highest payroll in the EP. The Premier League, they will be no big name signings in January. Big up some smaller names or loan deals. Well, I'll have to clear those players off when they get relegated because that'll be big salaries for the championship. You know what I'm saying? It'd be funny. Listen, until then, everybody take care of yourselves. Red United, thank you for those incredible donations. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you.